According to some, the Wanbo Vali 1 is the best value for money gimbal projector available on the market. In this video, we'll find out if that's really the case, so stay with me. Yes, that's right. This isn't the first and probably won't be the last Wanbo projector that has ended up here with me for testing. I really like Wanbo's projectors because they offer relatively good features at a relatively good price. Now, gimbal projectors have become quite widespread lately, and Wanbo also has one, the T2 Ultra, which however is a lower-end projector with less brightness, lower light output, and naturally worse features. The Vali 1, on the other hand, is already a more advanced projector in every respect. Sound, picture, user experience in everything. In this video, you'll get to know it. I'll cover the usual things, show it from the outside, go over the specifications, and then we'll move on to the tests. Sound, volume, cooling, picture quality, and other aspects. So let's dive in. From the outside, the projector is a relatively simple piece of equipment. As you can clearly see, this is a versatile gimbal projector. A gimbal projector essentially means you can easily adjust the projection angle so you can project images onto the ceiling or even onto a nearby wall. You can project it high up on the wall or wherever you truly desire to place it. So this is a rotatable projector, that's why it's called a gimbal projector. The casing itself is actually perfect in terms of quality. This is something we've come to expect from Wanbo. This matte white plastic casing is what they usually use. The front of the projector no longer has that usual glossy black fingerprint magnet, so here it's white as well. We have a lens and there are sensors that are needed for the automatic functions. Of course, I will talk about this a little bit later. The only significant design element is this simple white line running all the way around. There's really nothing else at all on it. The rear section of the projector is also a relatively simple and straightforward affair. Since here you will only find the essential air outlet, the necessary connectors, and a small infrared sensor. Next to the infrared sensor, you'll find a headphone jack, an HDMI port, a USB port, and there's a power button. That's it. There are two interesting things about the exterior that I need to draw your attention to. One of them is conveniently located on the side of the device, carefully positioned under a magnetic cover, and it's a relatively easy to remove HEPA filter. This is absolutely essential to prevent dust and other particles from getting into the cooling system, so the delicate heat sinks and the fan don't get dirty or clogged. The other very interesting thing, however, is found right down here on the base. I don't think most of you attach much importance to this, but it's actually a very important innovation because on most projectors, the power connector is usually located at the back. And that's really bad because if the power connector is at the back, then when you tilt the projector downward, it constantly gets stuck in the base. And this was the problem with the T2 Ultra as well. However, it seems that the engineers paid attention to user feedback, and with this device they've placed the power connector here on the base, which means you can rotate the projector in any direction and it definitely won't get stuck. This is a really great new feature. And there's another new feature which I think should be a basic minimum, but with Wanbo projectors it usually isn't, namely that they've provided a lens cap for the lens. Well, this is truly a special innovation because honestly, this should really be a basic thing, especially for a projector in this price range, but for some reason Wanbo always tends to leave these out. But now it's included. If you put it in, it stays in, although I should point out that it comes out relatively easily, so you need to be careful not to lose it. But it's there, at least we have a lens cap, so that's pretty much it for the exterior. There isn't much more I can say about it, maybe just that it weighs about 3 kilos, so it's really a truly very small projector, but it's not some huge thing either. This puts it in the mid-range category. Okay, let's move on to the specifications. I'll go over the more important things about the device. The brightness is 900 ANSI lumens, which means this belongs to the high-end category among LCD projectors. Currently, the top of these projectors is around 1000 to 1200 ANSI lumens. That's because the LED needs to be cooled. The brighter it is, the more it heats up, the higher the power, and the more cooling it requires. So in this projector, the 900 ANSI lumen light output means it requires significant cooling, and indeed it has substantial cooling inside. However, the manufacturer claims the noise level during operation is below 40 decibels. Good. They achieved this by installing a 10 centimeter fan and a heat pipe cooling system. Since this 10 centimeter fan has a relatively large diameter, it doesn't generate much noise, but the airflow it produces is high. So this projector features a very good advanced cooling system, and according to the manufacturer, noise won't be an issue. Regarding the speakers, it has two 6-watt speakers, a total output of 12 watts. Behind them, there is a 500 cubic centimeter space, which is necessary to ensure that we get more dynamic, deeper, and more natural sounds, so the projector doesn't have that really ugly, boxy sound. The projection distance can be set to roughly between 1.5 and 3.5 meters. By the way, you'll be able to project a 100-inch image from about 3 meters away. It's good to know that. As I mentioned, there are sensors on the front, which are needed for various automatic image correction modes. This is one of Wanbo's points of pride because these image correction modes work relatively well. But what are we talking about? There's automatic keystone correction, automatic focus, automatic screen alignment, and obstacle avoidance. These are the 4 automatic modes that allow the projector to automatically adjust the image. Here you no longer have to bother with adjusting the focus or anything else. The projector does everything automatically. And what's very important is that it probably has a gyroscope inside which detects movement as well. So if, for example, you turn the projector over like this during projection, it will sense that it has moved and recalibrate the image. If you turn it back, it will recalibrate again. So this device is equipped with a fully automatic function. Another thing you should know about it is that it runs Android TV 11 software. Don't be alarmed by the 11. That's actually the latest version of Android TV, version 11. So this doesn't mean it's running an old Android, but rather that it has Android TV 11 on it. It's very, 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 very important that it has Widevine L1 certification, which means we can watch streaming services in full HD on it. You don't have to suffer with SD resolution. Since it runs Android TV, we have immediate access to the store and can basically download every popular streaming service. So I was able to try it with Disney+, HBO Max, Apple TV, Sky Showtime, and of course Netflix. I honestly don't even know what else there is out there that I might have missed. The point is that it basically works with everything and there are no issues with it. And since it's Android, you can transfer your Android account and basically configure and set up these streaming services with your phone so you don't even have to bother entering passwords. Okay, so let's move on to the tests. What did I try out? Sound quality. I tried out what the sound quality is like while the device is projecting. I also tested how loud the cooling system is, so whether the value specified by the manufacturer is accurate. And of course, I also checked the image quality. Let's start with the fan, and I have to say that the fan noise is absolutely fine, but listen for yourselves. Okay, I think that's enough. You can see that the cooling is really great. I have to say that when the device is turned on, a lot of heat comes out of it, which means that to achieve 900 ANSI lumens, you really need a high-performance LED. However, the cooling system that the manufacturer put in really works well, so there's no problem with that. The sound quality during movies. In other words, I also tested the sound system's quality, of course. Obviously, I recorded it with a microphone, so listen to it with that in mind, but I hope it still gives you an idea of what the machine is capable of.
I've come to terms with the fact that you don't have an average job.
You guys having fun at the convention?
Get the same high fidelity quality as you would with an external sound system. However, considering that we're talking about such a remarkably small projector and that it only has two modest 6-watt speakers inside, I genuinely think this sound quality is actually more impressive than not. So the sound of this machine is surprisingly good. I was genuinely surprised, just like I was back in the day with the T2 Ultra, because that was an even smaller projector and yet it still had relatively good sound. So Wanbo really knows something in this area. And now let's talk about the image quality, where I do have a small complaint. The manufacturer claims that the brightness is 900 ANSI. I have another Wanbo projector, which is also rated at 900 ANSI, and the brightness seemed noticeably lower with this projector. So I looked it up online, searched for more serious measurements, and it turns out that in reality, this projector delivers more like 600 to 700 ANSI lumens of actual brightness. This basically means that if we want to watch movies in good quality, with good colors and saturation, on, say, 100 or 120 inches, then we definitely need to darken the room. If you can't completely darken the room, you'll have to move the projector closer to the wall or the screen so that the image is a bit brighter. So in this case, I think a screen size of around 70 to 80 inches is what will give you acceptable brightness and image quality. Obviously, this is an LCD projector, so it doesn't have those really deep blacks like you would get with a laser projector or a DLP projector. So it can happen that in very, very dark scenes, some small details will be lost. However, if you increase the brightness, then the blacks won't be black anymore, but will turn grey. So you have to find a middle ground somewhere so that as few details as possible are lost, but the blacks still remain somewhat black. There are no issues with colors. You can set your own color profile, and there are also pre-programmed ones. Similarly, several preset sound profiles exist, so you won't have problems with these either. You can absolutely customize the device to your liking. So, all in all, I can say that the Wanbo Vali one is not flawless, but for the price they're asking, these flaws are absolutely acceptable and, in my opinion, forgivable. You can live with them. After all, the price of this projector is currently under 90,000 forints, which is an incredibly good price for its gimbal capability, image quality, sound quality, Widevine L1 certification, and the software it comes with. So from this perspective, I think it's absolutely worth it. If you're interested, you'll find the purchase link in the description below the video. There will also be a coupon code to get a discount and a link to the written article. There I share a lot more technical details and other information that I didn't want to go into here in the video. So if you're truly interested in this particular projector, definitely look up this comprehensive article and give it a thorough read. If you enjoyed this video, you can choose something else to watch from the 2 other videos appearing right next to me. Check those out as well, and of course subscribe to the channel because there are still very few of you subscribed. Take care, look after yourselves, and I'll be back soon with another test. Bye.